So next is need for system calls. So before lecture we were discussing like what is the system call and how it's getting executed, the steps involved. We just do a small recap of the previous session. So here first once a user process is executing, and at that time any interrupt occurs, system calls will be generated. That is the second step. Once it is generated, that system call will be processed or executed in the kernel mode. Okay, execute the system call. Once it is done, the final step, it returns to your the control transfer to your user program, user process. So these are all the four important steps we need to have in a system call. So next is need for system calls. So why we need a system call? So these are all the important things. So why we need a system call? So for these reasons we need a system call. To read or write, perform any read or write operation from files, system call will be generated. And if a file system wants to create or delete files, at that time also system calls will be generated. So we can simply say to have to do file management, creating a new file, writing into the file, reading from the file. For these kind of operations, a system call will be generated. And then system calls are used for creation and management of new process. You want to create any child process or new process, at that time also system calls will be generated. And next, to make a network connection, we need system calls to send and receive messages, information. For that case also system calls will be generated. And to accessing input output devices, hardware devices like scanner, printer, for these type of operations also system calls will be generated. So like for file handling, memory management, resource management, and input output device management, for all these kind of operations we need system calls to be generated. So these are all the main important need for your system calls. So next we'll see a small example to understand how the system call works, and for doing a single operation how many um, system call what are all the system call sequences are there for doing a single operation. Okay, so here I have taken an example of writing a program to read data from one file and copy them to another file. We are just going to create a file. We are going to read data from one file and we are going to copy the data to the another file. So just we are going to copy the data from source to destination file. So that we are going to do now. For doing this operation, just see how many system call sequences have been created. So this is our source file and this is our destination file. So we are going to copy the content from here to here. Okay. So to do that, so what we have to do first, we have to get to the input file name. Okay. Because source file name is needed, also destination file name is needed for copying the file. From where to where I have to copy. That details I have to give, right? So for that case, I have to get the uh, input file name. Okay, so that is the first thing. So first we have to get the input file name from the user. Okay, let's say this is A and this is B. Okay, so we have to get the file name from the user and write prompt to the screen that we are just displaying the file name to the user, and then for not file name, we are just asking the user to enter the file name here. So after that the user will enter the file name, so we need to accept that file input file name, right? So accept input. Then once it's getting accepted, acquire output file name. The same fashion, we have to get the destination file name. So write prompt to the screen. The same way you have to get the data from the user. So destination file name should be given from the user. Then accept that input, that is a destination file input. Then open the input file. Once the source file and the destination file names, you got the file names, you have the next thing we have to do is open the input file. We have to open the input file, that is the source file. If the file doesn't exist, in case if the file is not at all exist, which means it is not at all created, it is not there, we have to delete the process. Okay, abort is nothing but terminate or deleting the process so far what we have carried out. Okay, then next is create output file. Okay, so we have to create an output file. So if file exists abort, which means if the same file exists, then we cannot, if already exists, we cannot create a file, right? So that if exists, we have to abort here. Then read, the same thing will be happen. Then read from input file, write to output file until read fails. Okay, so this we are going to copy the content from the source file to the destination file. For that sake only we have given this. So this will we are going to do this repeatedly, okay, till we reach the end of file. So that we have given this in loop. So once it is done, we are closing the output file and then we are terminating the program. Okay. So this is the process we are carrying out for just copying a file, source file to the destination file. See, these many sequence of operations are carried out. Okay. So this is just an example of a system call to understand.